Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you had a good first day at UCISA. We're just going to start with some accessibility introductions. So my name is James Clark. I work for ServiceNow. I'm wearing a blue blazer, blue jeans, and blue shoes. Over to you.
Hi, I'm James King. I'm Director of Technology at Royal College of Art. I'm 6'2". I have dark clothing.
Thank you. I'm Heather Keith. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Royal College of Art. I'm a white woman with short blonde hair, 5'2" today.
Hi everyone, I'm Seema Kisney. I'm the Deputy Director of Digital Products at the Royal College of Art. I'm going to be 5'2" today. Medium long hair and wearing a black and white top. Nicola Bamford, I'm a partner at EY working our consulting practice. I'm a white female, long hair, glasses, but the glasses may come on and off as I adjust to age-related eyesight issues. We'll leave it at that.
Cool. All righty. Well, look, folks, 30 minutes is going to go quite quickly. So we're going to break it up in a few slides to kind of set the scene for what it is that's been achieved over the past 6 to 12 months, and then we're going to go into a little bit more fireside chat style questions, which I think hopefully will help bring that to life. Just quickly before I hand over to Heather, I just wanted to start off by saying I've been in the sector for almost 6 years now, and this is easily one of the most exciting programs of work I've had the opportunity to be a part of. For those of you that, sorry Paul, no offence taken, I said one of. I was very specific in my words. The admissions process, as you'll know, is super complex, right? And we found that out very quickly as we started unpacking the journey that we've been on. It's not only about securing revenue for universities across the UK. It's about, for many prospective students, it's their first interaction with your university, and actually being able to provide a world-class experience is important, as important as delivering a functional solution. So hopefully you'll see that today. I'm going to hand over to Heather to talk a little bit about the RCA.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks, James. Oh, sorry. Great. Thank you. So my Vice-Chancellor would never forgive me if I didn't start with one slide about the Royal College of Art. So this is us. We are a postgraduate-only university specialising in art and design. We have 2,600 students from many international backgrounds, 80 different countries, about 600 to 800 staff, 4 schools, which represent all of our faculties. And last but not least, we were recently ranked world-leading art and design university for the 11th year running. So that's good. But that's not why we're here today. We're here today to talk to you about our admissions project. So the next slide, please. Marvellous. Shares with you why we started on this project. So in 22-23, the college changed its academic framework. We went from a 2-year program, 2-year MA Master's program, to a 1-year program. This put a spotlight on our admissions function. We needed to do a fact-finding study to really make sure that our admissions process was still fit for purpose with this new 1-year academic approach. The fact-finding study identified many good things, but also many areas for improvement. And on this slide, we've just given you a flavour of what some of those improvements were. So I'll be quick. We identified that communication to our applicants through the applicant-student journey was inconsistent. Some departments had really fantastic service-level agreements, got back to applicants really quickly. Some departments were a little bit more casual with their comms to applicants, so it was very inconsistent. We were also unable to have at a touch of our button clear and accurate records, data of our applicant portfolio of who was applying for the college. We had many records that were the same, duplication, so each and every time we tried to pull these painful processes, painful reports from our systems, we weren't completely confident with the data it was telling us. In a nutshell, the student journey needed some attention, hence the reason why we started speaking to Seema and James to really explore how we can make some improvements supported by technology. Over to James.
Thanks. So, early in summer of 2024, we had the issue, the nut to crack, and we needed a plan. So we started to devise a plan, and it became very apparent that actually the solution revolved around a student service management layer that would sit on top of our existing student record system. We looked for partners in this area and found EY and ServiceNow. The RCA Ignition itself is an extension of our ServiceNow service management platform to cover the admissions path of the student life cycle. So the applicants have an online self-service portal where they can enter their normal details. They can build a portfolio of their work. They can submit references and work experience relevant to the role. Our academics can go in and score these portfolios and score the applications. Our admissions team can run all the regulatory checks and make sure all of their documentation is in order. We can make an offer and track the offers that we have made. Applicants can accept the offer, and we can actually take deposits automatically through the payment gateway. There's a video which will run through that briefly, but in much greater detail.
Yeah, thanks, James. So, yeah, we've commissioned this video. I've kindly commissioned this video for and a bit so minutes just to bring it to life. And yeah, without further ado, if it plays.
Welcome to our new student admissions experience at the Royal College of Art, where we have set a new standard, developing a tailored admissions solution applicable to any of the 24,800 universities globally, looking to transform their admissions and recruitment processes. For the last 10 consecutive years, the RCA has been ranked as world's #1 art and design university, attracting artists, designers, and communicators from across the globe. Built using customer service management, CSM, with workflow automation and process optimization, we are more efficient, with enhanced data management, enabling focus on real-time decision-making. Imagine an experience that gives applicants a seamless journey, from submitting an application, to study, through to being ready to enroll. The Royal College of Art can now deliver exactly that. Now that we have shared with you the stages of the admissions portal journey, let's go and meet some of the people who will be using the portal to better understand how it enables and supports them in completing their application. Let's meet Ming, a prospective student who wants to apply for a postgraduate program. Ming is ready to apply, so follows the instruction on the RCA website to access the fully branded RCA admissions portal. He reads through the online guide to understand what information and documents he needs to prepare. Ming notices that there are on-screen instructions to help him as he works through the stages of his application, which help to make it a quick and easy registration process. As Ming moves through the application, he is asked to provide information and upload the documents that are specific to him and the program that he is applying to. Once Ming submits his application, he receives an automated confirmation that it has been received. While his application is being assessed, Ming can return to the admissions portal at any time to view progress. Ming has a question, so he returns to the admissions portal to send an inquiry to the RCA admissions team. Next we will meet Kelly, an admissions officer. The admissions team will use and have access to the workspace area in the portal known as Case. Kelly has just spotted a new admissions case for Ming. She assigns the case to herself and starts working through the admissions checklist to make sure Ming has submitted everything that will be needed. Everything is in order, and Kelly can see that Ming has raised an inquiry which she replies to. We now move on to Joe, an academic. He has just had Ming's application passed to him. Joe carries out an assessment and completes the academic scorecard. Joe is impressed by Ming's application and recommends making an offer. Remember Kelly, who we met earlier? She can see the recommendation from Joe and issues an offer letter. Kelly loves having everything accessible to her within the admissions case, freeing up time, previously spent looking in different systems to track applications. Ming is delighted to receive his offer and wastes no time accessing the RCA offers portal to accept and pay his deposit. Finally, let's meet Claire, who forms part of the senior leadership team. Claire has just viewed the admissions dashboard and is pleased to see the number of applicants that have applied and been accepted is continuing to grow, as well as there being less applicants dropping out partway through the journey. Claire is on her way to the weekly executive board, armed with the very latest data to demonstrate the value that the new student admissions system is bringing to RCA. There are 259% more applications being processed, with a 31% increase in quality. An amazing result. Overall, the RCA's new admissions solution not only enhances the applicant experience, but also improves operational efficiency and data management for the admissions team, leading to better outcomes for both applicants and the institution.
I'll press the button.
To life, just in terms of the changes that came about as a result of this project. But ultimately, and the way in which James described it in terms of having that layer, this was about how we quickly elevated and improved the overall user experience, whether that was a member of staff or whether that was a student. We've got a summary here of some of the main benefits. I'm sure some of those pain points will be familiar to all of you working in these areas, whereby for students it was very clunky. It's not a particularly great first impression of engaging with the #1 arts college in the world. So wanting to improve that was really key. There was also something about the transparency of where they were in the process. So being able to understand very quickly where they were up to and what the next step was, what they could expect at those later stages. And similarly for staff, Heather mentioned about the quality, poor. So that was a big benefit that came through the process. There was a lot of manual work which the admissions team had to work through, and we often talked, because we were working to incredibly tight deadlines, about Plan B, and very quickly came away from Plan B because it just wasn't an option. That would have literally meant more and more manual work for the admissions team, which is just not where the college wanted to go down that route. So yeah, the ability to have joined up workflows, the transparency and visibility of the information and seeing the applicant walk through the process were some of the biggest benefits. But to leave you with some headlines, some of these metrics are really quite stark. The increase in the number of admissions processed is huge. And the college already is seeing the benefit of that, just in terms of the management information that's providing them, and therefore the decisions that they can make about courses going forward and how they structure the timetable and the programs in the future. Okay.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nicola. So we're going to move into a more Q&A style now, so you can hear from our wonderful folks at the RCA and their experiences. So Nicola, over to you.
Okay. So Seema, you're first on my list. Heather mentioned about the fact that in the context of that change, there was a fact-finding exercise, and within that, looking at the solution and also the partner. So what made the RCA explore ServiceNow as a potential admission solution, and why EY is a strategic delivery partner? Cool.
So we had to transform our applicant experience really quickly and improve our admissions process. So scalability and flexibility, in my mind, were key factors in which we had to ensure we do. Last April, we had 3 days of discovery work where we really got to understand the ServiceNow technology behind this. We already have the CSM tool, so we knew how powerful their workflow automation is. But their process automation designer really allowed us to have this plug-and-play approach where we could implement and go live with certain aspects of the admissions process without it impacting on the other parts either side. And that gave us the agility and a bit of thinking space to sort of optimize our own processes, because we were doing this alongside of rolling out new features around the admissions process. So with EY, you know, they understood HE, they understood our admissions process, but really it was the honesty and the trust building that really made such a big difference with us. They were a huge part of our business change process, which was quite integral to delivering transformation of this size and at this rapid change rate that we were going through. But altogether, I think the commitment, the knowledge, the sort of collaboration we all came together and delivered on really made such a big difference to delivering on a project of this size at this very tight timescale that we had.
Yeah, and just what was the timescale again?
So we started the work in beginning of July, and we launched the first phase. I'll go through phases in a second, in October. And we started to see benefits from day one, which was great.
Brilliant. Thanks, Seamus. So, James King, you talked a little bit around how this was built on an existing system rather than replacing said system. Could you help us understand why you went down that route?
Thank you. So we have a student record system. We have a small product team who support that student record system. They've got a huge backlog with all the regulatory and statutory changes which are all being enforced upon the higher education sector. We also have our service management system with a great team who look after all aspects of the experience to do with that. It didn't make any sense for us to develop the student record system and try and build a whole new customer experience or student experience there when we have an experience built within ServiceNow which we could extend over. Where we're looking at where to put our time, effort and resources, it was really quite clear in extending ServiceNow that gave us the best value and also consolidated our systems. We were making more of an asset that we already had.
Brilliant. Thanks, James. I'm going to go back to you, Seema. You touched a little bit upon phased rollout there. Why was that crucial to the success of this project, and what were the lessons learned from kind of that incremental delivery approach?
Use a mic. So very early on in the project, at the beginning we envisioned a big rollout of the full end-to-end process. But when we did the discovery sessions, we very quickly learned it's not the right way for us to do this. So we ended up with 4 phases. So the first phase was around releasing an application form for applicants. They could inquire, they could monitor the status of their application, and the admissions team could review that and do some validation checks. The second phase was around the academic community and how they reviewed the portfolio and scored. The third phase was around sending an offer letter to the applicants and getting a deposit payment through. And the final phase was around the pre-enrollment and just getting those who have accepted, pay their deposit, all geared up and ready for joining the RCA. So the benefits of doing the phased rollout was, one, the change fatigue and the sort of amounts of change for not just the admissions team, but for the college as well. We sort of broke that down into the relevant phases. So the change was small enough that they could adapt, and we sort of gained their confidence, and we started to gain momentum as well. Very early on, it sort of encouraged that engagement. So we could hear people from other departments talking about this project. We had data dashboard on a very big screen. We have an open plan office. Everyone can see that. People were coming up, talking about the data, wanting to understand what this meant. And then we find people just purposely walking around, looking at the dashboard, looking at what the data says for today, which was really great and insightful to see. We adopted an iterative feedback loop as well. So whilst we were developing the phases, we were also looking at feedback and how we improve the phase that just released and what critical features, development we also wanted to implement as well. So we accommodated that into the sprint.
Thanks, Seema. Nicola?
So, is how did you manage the internal business change required across the various stakeholders?
Thanks, Nicola. So for me, the internal business change requirement was much less about the technology, but more about the purpose and vision of what we were trying to deliver. And that was an efficient, seamless student journey from applicants to pre-enrollment. I was completely confident with the team's approach and all the project governance. We were sprinting, there were scrums, there were daily stand-ups. That was completely in hand. My job as COO was really making sure, given the tight time frame, that there were no barriers going to pop up from any aspect of the college or the relevant stakeholders that could potentially derail the project. So as COO and sponsor in the executive board, in governance, in council, I was articulating the vision of the project. I was getting commitment for the project, but then I was absolutely by their side, holding their hand and putting it into practice. So that meant in July 2024, when we went live, the next day I'm with deans in their SLTs saying, sorry folks, you need to reschedule your annual leave because I need admission tutors in these discovery workshops in July, August, September to help shape this product. Time absolutely was key, and that was a huge challenge.
I think I remember, Heather, if I can say so, one of the early conversations we had, you very aptly put your hand up and went, technology isn't really my bag, but I'll make sure that the train stays on the tracks over the course, and actually that's okay, right? You know, technology doesn't need to be your bag, but you played your role perfectly, so thank you. Back to you, Mr. King. Real-time data, we talk a lot about data, but that's at the core of this admissions process that we've built. How has it changed the way that staff have worked, and what's it enabled you to do?
So as pretty much everyone in this room should know, admissions is horrifically complex. Every program has its own targets, upper and lower targets. There's geopolitical concerns that can affect recruitment. Every program has a different number of fees which affect the amount of deposit. The amount of variables is staggering. What we've now moved to is being able to have real-time data right from an applicant registering to use the system all the way through to a final deposit being paid and every stage in the middle. What this is allowing our teams to do is to intervene where necessary. So in one case, we had a program where applications were sticking on a portfolio development. So we highlighted this through the use of the dashboards, and our marketing team actually ran a webinar aimed specifically at those people at that stage to help them build a portfolio and submit it, encouraging all of those potential students to move on to the next stage. We can identify where bottlenecks may be developing and actually solve those bottlenecks before they start to affect the experience. Thank you.
Nicola, we've got one more question, 5 more minutes.
Okay, so the last question, and I know we have talked about this in the context of business change and Heather's admission at the beginning about not being a techie. But the final question to Heather is, how did you ensure that this transformation wasn't just seen as a technology upgrade, a technology implementation, and was actually more about that shift in mindset
Yeah, so I think Seema used a phrase just a moment ago, which I'm going to copy, which is the bite-size wins, or the bite-size approach to this project. We really made sure that we held on to those and celebrated the wins, particularly for our admissions team. So this is a team that are at the absolute forefront of this project. Some of them inherited it, some of them were excited by it, some of them were just like, oh my gosh, I'm not tech savvy, I just want to stick to the old way. So come October, having had us breathing down their neck over the summer, getting all the information, building the product with them, they were absolutely exhausted. But then they saw the dashboard. Then they could see in real time a processing of an application, ping, it goes up, the dashboard went up one. We could see in real time how many students were paying their deposits. That excited our finance colleagues. The cross-college process of teams that came together to build this product really came together, and we had to keep finding a way to remind ourselves of that, to break through the silos. The other point we needed to keep doing was bringing us back to the scope of work. We did define the scope in record speed. For the enthusiastic people on the project, they keep adding to the bucket of what we were trying to deliver, and we had to keep going, hang on, we need to stay within our scope, we'll add that next. So we needed to keep coming back to what we needed to deliver. Would you add anything, James?
Brilliant. I think we've got a couple of minutes for some questions. Is there anyone from the audience that has a question? Far away. You want to use a microphone? Oh, you won't? Okay.
I know what I did wrong. I kept pressing the button, didn't I? So I think one of the biggest challenges about resources is we're quite a small team, and we didn't bring in resources like business analysts, project managers, program improvement people, change people. Like, we lent on EY quite a lot, but we did most of the work ourselves. We felt like the skill set and expertise that were needed for this project were already within the team. We already had the right people within the team to sort of adopt this, and using Heather and James to sort of bat away other pieces of work was really important as well, so that we could just stay laser focused in ensuring that we meet this deadline and get this done.
Any other questions? Far away.
We've always got thought about how we can continually improve. So one of the benefits in working with EY is we've embedded this culture of continual improvement. We're constantly looking back at what we've just released. What's the data saying? What's our feedback? How can we make this better? So we're constantly engaging with ServiceNow colleagues to, yes, get some passport validation and automate that a little bit better. Because we constantly want to improve on the stats that we sort of shared earlier.
I'll maybe back that up with a bit of the technology answer to that. So we do have the technology in the platform to basically take that information from the passport on autofill. Because of the tight timelines that we're in, it was one of the stories that got dropped off, to be super transparent. But there's a list of, let's call it next gen, or version 2.0, as you want to call it.
Ignition Remix.
Ignition Remix, okay, I like that. But no, that capability, I really like that, does exist in the platform, and it was initially in that scope, but we had to make some tough calls. I think the other thing to add, in case this wasn't immediately obvious, is what we've built with the RCA is a postgrad solution. So that's the piece that or that's the product, if you will, that is kind of market ready, and we'd love to show you if you have some time on the stand to come and talk to us. We're catered to demo. I know everyone loves a demo, but yeah, I think what you'll probably see over the coming months is kind of things like that really start to come into it. AI, It's obviously a massive thing that we want to leverage, and yeah. Good question, though. Paul?
Yep. We deal with international agents. It's not built in, but agents can apply on behalf of applicants.
When you say built in, Paul, were you thinking in terms of those agents being able to use this system to apply on behalf of? Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. I think we're at time. Sorry. Thank you for making the time. Thanks for coming. Hopefully speak to some of you on the stand over the next day or so.
Thank you.
Cheers.